In this lecture, we will try to understand one more important concept in Java programming language, that is known as constructor. Constructor overloading. In my previous lecture, we were discussing about method overloading, isn't it? Yes, in this particular lecture, we will try to understand constructor overloading. In my future classes, I will discuss about the purpose behind constructor overloading and method overloading. Time being, just understand the theory and the program, how it works, we will try to understand. Later, we will try to understand purpose of this constructor overloading and method overloading while discussing about object-oriented programming principles. Time being, let me say like this, like methods. I already discussed about methods. Like methods, constructors can also, like methods, constructors can also be overloaded. I already discussed what is constructor in my previous lectures. Appropriate constructor, I will write. Appropriate constructor is called. Appropriate constructor is called. Appropriate constructor is called as per the parameters, as per the parameters we pass, as per the parameters we pass at the time of object creation. Yes, this point is important. We will try to understand this point while discussing about program, isn't it? We will discuss in program. I will create a constructor known as with name rectangle. Here I am going to define a constructor with name rectangle. It will be overloaded. In my previous lecture, we discussed, we created a method void test, which is overloaded. How many times we overloaded that void test? I think we overloaded 4 times. Here in this program, instead of method, I will create a constructor with name rectangle and I will overload this one 6 times. Yes, that depends how many times you have to overload. That depends on your requirement. Purely depends on requirement. For illustration purpose, let me overload 6 times. Let me repeat. Rectangle is overloaded. Rectangle is my constructor is overloaded. Compiler differentiate. That you must understand. Compiler differentiates. Compiler differentiates which constructor is to be called depending on the number of parameters and the sequence of parameters. How will it be? We will try to understand. It is simple and straightforward. Once if you understand method overloading, understanding constructor overloading is very simple and straightforward. Just try to recall what is constructor. Just try to recall from my previous classes what is constructor. It is a method. It is a, just let me spend 1 minute. It is a method. Constructor is a method whose name is same as class name. Whose name is same as class name with and without return type. Class name and without return type, and it will be called. When will it be called? This constructor will be called automatically. Constructor will be called automatically, or I can say constructor will be called implicitly, automatically or implicitly when an object is created. I need not call constructor. Whereas in the case of method, I must call method. Just try to recall my previous lecture on method overloading. We were calling like this. Just remember o.test. I am calling this constructor with o object. O.test of 100. I'm calling this particular method with the help of object dot method. That's what we were discussing in my previous lecture. To call a method, I need object dot method. But in the case of constructor, I need not call constructor. Just whenever you create an object, automatically corresponding constructor will be called. How it works, we will try to understand. Just as space is not enough for me in this particular slide, I kept some piece of the code in my next slide also. Just try to bear with me. Just see this one. This class name is rectangle. Whichever name you want, you can write. Whichever name you want, you can write. You need not write rectangle. Of course, this is constructor. How do you know? What is the definition of constructor? It is a method whose name is same as class name without return type. Yes, this is a method. As it has got parenthesis, I can say it's a method. This name matches with class name, which does not have any return type. Therefore, I can call it as constructor. As it is defined, as it is satisfying definition of constructor, I can call it as constructor. What it says, system.out.println from default constructor. In my previous lectures also we were discussing what is default constructor. Default constructor is a constructor which does not have any arguments. You don't have any arguments or parameters here. Therefore, I can say it is a default constructor. Of course, I need not write this particular message. I can write my student name. I can write my student name. I am Sri Kiran. I can write whichever name, whichever message I want. I can keep this. Of course, depending on my requirements in later stages, while developing very big programs, here I may write some addition of two numbers program. Here I may write finding principal something like simple interest. Here I may write finding roots for quadratic equation. Here I may write Fibonacci series. Depending on my requirement, I will write. Just for to understand, just I am displaying messages. That doesn't mean as it is in default constructor, I have to write from default constructor. It's not necessary. Whichever name, whichever message, or whichever task you want, you can perform. For simplicity, just I wrote from default constructor. There is again, this is constructor. How do you know this is it constructor? It is a method. How do you know it's a method? Because of this parenthesis. This name matches with class name. Therefore, it's constructor. Of course, it has got one integer argument. Isn't it? It is a constructor with the integer argument, but it is not having arguments. Here I am printing area with one parameter. Just see. Area with one parameter. It's a message. It will get displayed. What am I doing? X star X. If I pass number 2, X star X means 2 into 2, 4. It will display what area with one parameter. It will display 4. Whichever number I will pass here, that number will be squared. That will be get multiplied twice, and that result will be appended to this area with one parameter message. Again, I am defining one more constructor. How do you know whether it is constructor or not? It is a constructor as it is matching with class name, isn't it? Which does not have any return type. Of course, I am keeping double argument, isn't it? Just I am displaying area with one, just same. Just I am multiplying it twice and appending to this particular message area with one parameter. Again, what it says, just observe carefully. This is also a constructor, of course, with two parameters. Here I am again multiplying two parameters and displaying and appending to this message area with one parameter. Just try to understand how many constructors do we have. First constructor, second constructor, third constructor, 4 constructors. In this particular slide, just try to understand we have 4 constructors. In similar manner, here I have 2 more constructors. What are the 2 more constructors? This is 5th one, this is 6th one. It is simple. Of course, this is a constructor whose name is same as class name. It differs in terms of number of arguments, order of arguments, type of argument. This particular constructor has got int and double. This particular constructor has got double and int. As I told you, how compiler differentiate all these things depending on number of arguments, type of arguments, and order of arguments. Just understand how many constructors we defined in this program. We defined 6 constructors in this program. Now what I need? I have to create object. To create object, what I need? I need main method, public static void main string args. We know the meaning of this particular main method. How can I create an object? Object can be created class name space object name equal to new class name. Therefore, what is your object name? What is this R1? I can say time being just understand it's an object. If you speak strictly, this can be treated as a reference variable. What is reference variable? What is object? People used to interchangeably call. Sometimes they may say reference variable. Sometimes they may call object. If you speak strictly, there is slight difference in between reference variable and object. Time being, you can understand it is an object or reference variable. In my next lectures, after 1 or 2 lectures, I will discuss in detailed manner what is reference variable, what is object. Just time being, understand. Class name space, let me say this is object name, new class name. I am creating an object with name R1. Here, while what is constructor? Once if you create an object, a constructor will be called automatically. Which constructor will be called? There are 6 constructors. Just see here, I am not passing any argument. Therefore, just go to my previous slide. In that particular slide, there is a constructor without any argument. Just let me show that one. Just see, this particular constructor will be called this first constructor as it is not having any arguments. Let me show the output also so that one can understand. As it is simple and straightforward. Just see, class name rectangle space object name new class name. Automatically where will it go? Just see, it will display from default constructor. This is my first constructor. Again I am creating object class name space object name equal to new class name. What is this 5? 5 is an integer. Therefore it will go to the integer argument. In previous slide we had one constructor with integer number. Therefore where will it go? It will go area with one parameter 25. How you are getting area with one parameter 25? It is calling a constructor with single argument. Where do you have that constructor with single argument, integer argument? This is the constructor. This is a constructor with integer argument. This number 5 is passed. 5 5 are 25. Area with one parameter 25. It will display, isn't it? It will display like that. In that manner, one can understand all other statements. Rectangle space R3 equal to rectangle space R3 equal to new rectangle 4.5. 4.5 means that 4.5 will be squared. You will get 20.25. In that manner, certainly one can understand this is 4 comma 5. 4 comma 5 means 2 integer arguments will be passed, isn't it? In similar manner, you can understand R5, R6, something like this. At the end, I am displaying a message, overloading the constructor is over. Just see, it is displaying overloading the constructor is over. Yes, just go through this one. It is simple and straightforward. Just try to understand. It's simple. Just study that. What you have to study? We have to study all the constructor. Just I am calling. How many constructors are there? There are 6 constructors. This will be called first one without argument. This is integer argument. This is with double argument. This is with 2 integers. This is int comma double. This is double comma int. Appropriate constructor will be displayed and this particular output will get displayed. At the end of the program, I am displaying a message known as overloading the constructor is over. That's what it display. It is simple and a straightforward lecture. Anybody can understand. If you have any difficulty, please keep a comment. Let me demonstrate this one. In my previous lecture, I am discussing about overloading. First, let me show that what is overloading. Just see JAVS space overload demo.java. This is method overloading. Now let me show the output. That's what Java space overload demo, isn't it? There are no parameters. Int x is 100, double x is 100.5, int x and y are 100 and 200. In similar manner, what is this? Another one is constructor overloading. We will try to understand what is constructor overloading. Just let me say .java. JAVS space rectangle.java. I am compiling this program. Just let me run this program. How can I run this program? Just see. How can I run this one? JAVAC space rectangle, area with one parameter. First it will call from default constructor, area with one parameter, area with one parameter. This is the screen which I have shown in my presentation. Just go through it. It is simple and straightforward lecture. Just if you have any difficulty, please keep a comment. Thank you very much.